So, Kalihi days, small kid days growing up, when did you leave the islands?
We left right after the war. My father was in the insurance business with Dillingham Insurance, but he was offered a very good job in San Francisco for Aetna Insurance Company. So he took the opportunity and he took the whole family. And at that time it was with my mother and two younger brothers. And so they brought us hats and coats and ties and shoes, and they told us that you have to wear shoes because there's bugs on the ground. That's what my grandfather told us. So we believed that so the only reason people wore shoes is because there's bugs on the ground. But we were expecting all these different things.
San Francisco was beautiful.
It was great. The first time the ship is pulling into San Francisco, and you see, I had never seen as a kid steam from my mouth come out of my mouth. I had never seen that. I was enthralled with this air, this steam coming out of my mouth because it was cold in San Francisco. It was January 7th, and I had never had that kind of a coldness. And I loved it. I just adored it.
What, the Lurleen?
It was on the Matsonia.
The Matsonia. So you came through underneath the Golden Gate Bridge,
yes,
as a little kid.
Yeah.
So really, your life started in San Francisco, and I mean, as far as your musical experiences and your childhood growing up to be.
I was musical here in Hawaii, but everything, my professional life started. I was lucky, Frank. This is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
My formation, what I was as a Hawaiian was fostered here in Kalihi in Hawaii. By the time I left at 11 and a half, I was who I was going to be for my future. That was already in me. But my pubescent time came. So as a man, I grew to be a man in the mainland. So I had the best of, I really believe I had the best of both worlds. I was a Hawaiian. I was, dyed-in-the-wool Hawaiian when I left. But I became a man
in San Francisco?
In San Francisco. And it was so interesting because here I was, a Portuguese, Hawaiian, Chinese boy, growing up in an really all-white neighborhood in Oakland, California. And the only girls I had to date and all that were all long-legged, tall, holly girls and Irish girls with freckles and all that. And I just took that for granted because that was the norm for me.
High school, went to high school?
High school, the whole thing, yeah. So everything, I really had the best of both worlds. And I grew up not seeing differences.
Yeah, interesting about that. Because you did
I left at the right time, though. Had I left maybe at 14 or 15, it might have been different.
Yeah,
I would have had my roots a little bit more deeper in Hawaii.
So music was always in the swirl of things in your head.
You know where it was? When I first, back here in Hawaii, I was singing on the bus going to school. I went to St. Louis. And I would get on the bus and I would just start singing. And I never thought of it as being anything special. I just loved to sing. And I was known on the HRT, Honolulu Rapid Transit, I was the Bing Crosby of the bus that went to St. Louis.
So you already had reputation already on the bus.
With the kids,
nice.
With the kids in the back, of the bus. And then I entered contests, and I remember winning a custard or apple pie or something like that one time.
What was the song that you did?
Pennies from Heaven.
Go ahead, give me some.
Every time it rains, a pennies from heaven.
So
that's a little jazz song.
So the Wahinis, they like that. I mean, the girls swoo over you or what?
Well, you know what? They thought I was a little bit brash.
Yeah.
I guess now, when looking back, I didn't know what the word meant before. But I never thought of it that way. I thought there was just a very natural way to express myself. I was expressing myself in a way that I felt very comfortable, and it was no big deal to sing to someone.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it. Now, when I went to San Francisco, growing up there, I really got involved in sports. And I was taught baseball by the Catholic priest at St. Cyril's, where I went, and basketball, and because I was strictly into football over here. And I did well. I did very well too, but in football, because I wanted to be the second Herman Wiedemeyer. I was going to be, because Herman was our hero, right, that came out of Hawaii. I wanted to be the second Herman Wiedemeyer. He had gone to St. Mary's College in the Bay Area too. I did everything I could to excel in football, and fortunately I did. I was an all Northern California running back for 2 years, junior and senior year in school. And my whole life was predicated towards sports. I didn't think I could. Professional sports weren't that important at that time, but I wanted to be a big college star and that whole thing. And whatever came after that was an adjunct to sports.
So your college, where'd you spend time?
Well, I was at San Francisco State. I went there on a football scholarship, and I was small, but my thing was speed. So I ran away from big guys that were chasing me. I ran faster than they did, and that's what gave me my accolades, is because I was able to run a little bit faster than the guys that were chasing me.
Sure.
But when I got to college, I was competing again. Here I had made all this and all that, and I was kind of a little bit full of myself, you know. And I got to college, and all of a sudden, I had to start all over again. I didn't like that. I liked the idea of appealing to the public. I liked the applause.
Sure.
That appealed to me.
Yes.
What got it going back was I sang. There was a girl that I was going with. Her name was Ann Richards, who eventually married Stan Kenton. She was a great singer. She knew that I could sing, so she got me singing with college rallies. And in those college rallies was another classmate, which was Johnny Mathis. And yeah, he was a classmate, and there were people like Cal Jader and Paul Desmond. All these guys, they were just getting started too. This was what got me started into jazz. These were the people that influenced me. Once I got started singing, and I would sing and people would applaud, that was my transition. That took place. All of a sudden, wow, you know, I don't need football to be special. I wanted to be special. I always wanted to be special. This was my way of being something, making something out of myself.